Matchups. Brad Gilbert. Brad Gilbert is great for matchups. I think it's someone's friend of mine, Steve Denton, great for matchups. Can watch a match and say the kid does this wrong, or he's a little weak here, a little strong here, and knows what to tell his players. When you think of your player, you have to make a checklist. What are their pluses? What are their minuses? What can they do? What they cannot do? What do they do better? What do they do not so well? With matchups, it works this way. A can beat B, B can beat C, but A can't beat C. So there's just so many things. You know, the lefty versus the righty, the serve and volleyer. Just think two baseliners. This comes from Vic Braden. You have two baseliners. He was at the Easter Bowl a couple years ago, and he said, you know, I'm watching baseliner play baseliner, and one baseliner is a little bit better. The other kid might as well just mail him the scores because he doesn't have the options. He can't adjust his game. When it comes down to players from yesteryear and players today, that's always fun. If you think about, say, Andy Roddick. Andy Roddick at one time was being coached by Jimmy Connors. How does Roddick and Connors match up? Well, for me, Connors stands so close to the baseline, having the capability of taking the return so early, does he nullify Roddick's serve? No. Can he neutralize it? He's going to do A-okay because of what he can do on the return to serve. Roddick has that great serve. He, at Wimbledon one year, he loses to Rosetsky. Brad Gilbert's working with him. He plays Rosetsky the very next year. And Roddick is serving and staying back. Because at that point, that was what Gilbert told him to go with. Serve, stay back, crack your forehand, instead of serving and volleying. And I think that's where Gilbert is just so savvy with matchups. One year, Roddick played a Davis Cup match where he only served and volleyed one time in 5 sets on a California hard court, serving at 130, 140 miles per hour. And it's not beating up on Andy Roddick. Well over 5 years now, he's been the best tennis player in America. So, I mean, I want to sing Andy Roddick's praises, but when it comes down to talking about matchups, start studying the pros, start reading about the pros, and, you know, we're always talking about understanding basics and developing strokes, but have the junior watch tennis on TV and know the strengths and weaknesses of pros, but then they need to know the strengths and weaknesses of their own game. I always ask juniors, you know, I travel quite a bit within the U.S., outside the U.S. as well, but just be at one of the 17 sections, and I'm doing a clinic, working with some players, and I said, okay, I could be talking to some 18-year-olds. I said, tell me how many players within your section that serve and volley. Now here in Florida, where I live, I'll ask players, you know, 16s, 18s, tell me 5 players within your section, within your age group that serve and volley. So then I'll go a little bit further, say, how many players do you play that come in, they move through that conventional approach volley? So you throw up the moon ball, and they take it out of the air. You stop thinking, and again, it's like serve and volleyers. There's not that many of them. So you have to really know tennis, but it's fun to sit and watch two people play, go through their checklist, and then try to make a game plan for how they would match up against each other.